Hey everyone, it is Brian Koss here, joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. We have another Wednesday marketing webinar for you today. And on this one, we'll be basically talking about how to make money by basically asking questions. And it works like regardless if you sell like online or offline products or services, or even if you're just an affiliate. I'll show you basically methods that this works for basically all of those. So even if you have nothing to sell yet, that's perfectly fine, because you can do this simply as an affiliate as well and sell basically any kind of affiliate product you want. Of course, if you have your own products, you can use it for that too. So some pretty interesting methods that aren't actually too hard to actually do. It's just that a lot of people don't really do them much, and they haven't really thought through how to go about that and whatnot. And as always too, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can feel free to ask us at any point, and we'll have time for the Q&A at the end, and Sean and Sharon are also on to answer questions and all that stuff for you as well. And towards the end, we'll also have a chance to win some money too. So without further ado, I will get this show on the road, which once again is how to make money by asking questions. And once again, my name is Brian Koss. I'm joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. So as most of you know, we have these calls every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, where we'll host a live training and/or Q&A call for our members like you. If you're here or you're registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week, so don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area within a day of any of the calls under the training tab on the left side navigation bar. And if you want a chance to win $100 today, we'll actually do a live contest, or drawing, I should say, a live drawing at the end of the call. But you have to join this free Facebook group here, which you can if you just go to getwebfire.com/FB group. That will just forward to the Facebook group page, and if you're not a member, just click join. Sharon usually approves of you within like a couple minutes, if you're on the call now. And towards the end of the call, we'll tell you what to do there to get a chance to win $100 today, which we'll actually draw live in front of you. So now let's move on to our training for this week on how to make money by asking questions. So a lot of business owners tend to drive traffic to a specific set offer. And what I mean by that is, like, they'll drive traffic to like a sales page or a squeeze page for something specific. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, because it can work great, at times. And it's especially great if you're able to really pinpoint your prospects well. Like if you know they want exactly what you're selling, of course that can work well. However, oftentimes, even if you target your prospects well, you don't know what it is that they really want or need. You might know they have a general interest in something, but you oftentimes don't know specifically what it is that they're currently looking for right now. And keep in mind, what they're looking for and what they need can actually vary a lot from day to day. So someone looking for, let's say they want a pizza now. They don't necessarily want a pizza every day of the week. They might want, Chinese food or Indian the next day. Likewise, if someone's in the market for a car now, they might not be in the market for a car next week if they already have one at that point. So, you oftentimes don't, even if you target them somewhat well, you oftentimes don't know exactly what they need in any given moment. For instance, if you know someone is interested in tools, let's say, you might advertise a new saw to them. But what if they're really just looking for a hammer? You can have the best saw in the world, but it won't matter if what they want right now and what they need is a hammer for the project that they need done. Even if you have the best sales page in the world, it won't really matter. Or if you have the best weight loss guide in the world, if you advertise to someone who really is just focused on gaining muscle, so they're interested in health and weight loss as a whole, but really they want to gain muscle right now, you won't make that sale even if you have the best weight loss guide out there. Or I should say, you'll have a very hard chance of making that sale if what they're interested in is mostly just the muscle gaining. Or even more specifically, using that same example, the weight loss or health niche, if someone is interested in losing a double chin, your perfect weight loss guide, which might actually even help them, still will be a tough sale because they don't know for sure if it will solve their problem. Because remember, people with specific issues or wants look for specific solutions or products. So even when your product can help them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll think that and that they'll actually get it as a result. That's a few issues that you'll have to deal with, and I'll share with you a handful of tricks to solve basically all that and more. And on top of that, even if you know almost exactly what they're looking for, you still might have a tough time selling them. Even if you know that, hey, they're interested in buying a TV or a computer or a car, you still might have a tough time selling them, because even if you know exactly what they want, you might not know the specifics, like what kind of car or what kind of TV or whatever it might be. So a perfect example here is, let's say you know someone is interested in buying a robot vacuum, like I think what's called like the I forgot their names, but there's like an iRobot, there's like a Roomba, and like a whole bunch of other ones, like brand names and all that, that are these like little vacuums that drive around your house and basically vacuum up stuff. Some even mop stuff. You know, the pretty neat things. And let's say you got a tip that you say, hey, these people right here, they're actively looking for a robot vacuum. Now, a lot of people might think, well, gee, I'm an affiliate for robot vacuums, so if I drop an affiliate link to robot vacuums, I can make some sales there. Well, you might make some if it's a very good list and the people are all interested in buying a robot vacuum, but the issue there is, even then, even when you have a very targeted list of people interested in robot vacuums, the issue is that you don't specifically know what kind of vacuum they might be looking for. They might not even know what kind of vacuum they need. So you might be trying to sell a vacuum that's really meant for wood floors when they might not have any wood in their house. Or likewise, you might be trying to sell one that's really good for basically carpets when their house might be almost entirely wood. Or you might sell one that can only go in like basically a square when they have a house that's like really odd shaped. So even though you might have like almost the exact thing that they want or need, you still don't know precisely what that is right there. And oftentimes even the person that's looking to buy might not also know exactly what they need. And that's why, like, I'll share with you a little later. There's examples of stuff you can do to really help these guys pinpoint down exactly what it is that they should get by simply asking, in some cases as low as like a single question, in other cases a handful of questions. I'll show you how you can kind of pinpoint down precisely what they want and give them the precise offers that can make you a lot more money. So that's why I wanted to make today's topic on how to solve these issues by asking questions as a way for you to make money. And that's regardless if you're an affiliate, a product owner, a service seller, or anything like that. I don't care if you have a product or not, you can apply this to almost anything, including just being an affiliate of almost anything that you want. So here's the overview for today's call. First, I'll basically cover why asking questions works and how to do it best. Then I'll give some survey examples, because one of the ways to basically do it is through surveys. I'll talk about how to do that. I'll show off some actual ones that we have done and such. And then I'll show you a brief look at how you can easily do it yourself too. And then I'll follow it up with a Q&A. And then lastly, of course, always the cash giveaway. So how do you ask questions and make money off of doing so? By pinpointing solutions based upon their responses. So how to ask questions. First, you want to ask a question where you can help at least most of the responses. You don't want to ask a question where it's like too open-ended and you can't really help the majority of answers that they give. So you want to try to like guide them down a path. For instance, if you were selling robot vacuums, you might say, hey, are your floors mostly wood, Are they mostly carpet? What's the size of your house? Is it 1 floor or 2? Questions like that you know based upon the responses that they give, you can help. Then be sure to individually respond to each of the answers that you know you can help and give them custom solutions or offers to help. So here's a handful of examples. So in the diamond niche, one of the things that I've done is I would help people find basically a perfect diamond for them. Like usually it'd be typically guys searching for like an engagement ring, but in not all cases. In some cases it might just be like normal jewelry, or even women that search for basically random gifts for each other or themselves and such. But I might say, hey, what is your budget? What's most important to you, like the size or the cut or clarity, and give like a handful of questions like that. And based upon the responses that they give, I know kind of what they would most likely like. Or in the weight loss, and an example there, if you're selling a bunch of weight loss products, you might say, hey, what is your biggest problem area? Is it your gut? Is it your chin? Is it your arm flabs? Whatever part of your body has fat, or muscle or toning, whatever that might be. If you ask them specifically what their issue is, you can give them a specific solution to that. Or with the business, if there's, let's say, a business, if you don't know what the business does, you can't really help them a ton. Whereas, if you ask them, say, hey, what is your biggest issue as a business? Or hey, do you sell to consumers or other businesses? Stuff like that. The answers that they give you can help you kind of pinpoint a solution to them. For instance, if a business said that they sell a service to other businesses, so they're in the business-to-business market instead of the business-to-consumer market, there's probably a handful of different products that could help them versus one that was not in that field. And if they said, hey, they suffer from a lack of leads of businesses, if there was a tool that helped find business leads, that would be a perfect basically offer to show them at that point. So there are multiple ways and places to do this. You can ask questions on Facebook, on blogs or articles and videos, on forums and Q&A sites, and I'll give a few examples of that in a bit. But Q&A sites would be like Yahoo Answers, whereas like forums would be any forum that's in your niche, which if you just do a search on Google for basically any keyword followed by like forum or message board, you'll find a ton of them. And surveys, which are probably my favorite because you can ask a ton of questions, and I'll talk a bit more about that towards the end and show some examples of stuff that we've done there as well. Now, each have some pros and cons to them, so we'll go through some one by one here and what you'd want to do in each case. So the first one is Facebook. So you can ask basically a question either on your own profile, on a group or a fan page, or through a paid ad. So there's free and paid ways that you can do it here. An example could be a post that says, what's your biggest issue with growing your business? And you kind of find out, if you have a bunch of people that own, basically businesses that are friends of yours or following you and such, or you post that on like a group page or a fan page, you can get some feedback, which could not only be useful for you, but if people are basically talking about issues that you can help them with, or issues that there might be an affiliate offer or an affiliate product that might help, you can pinpoint solutions to their issues. Or you could run an ad to an article about 3 common business mistakes and how to overcome them, followed by you asking in the ad itself, at the end of that, do you have any different issues with your business? Post below in the comments and we'll see if we can help. So you're advertising an article, which hopefully you would control or have some ads and links in that itself. So you could get some basically traffic and business through people that go to your article, which is useful. But you'd also ask in the ad itself if they have any different issues, or if they agree or disagree, or what other problems they've encountered with their business, and you specifically say, you know, post below in the comments or post below in the comments, and we'll see if we can help. And what that does is it gets guys that start to interact with you, that really tell you what their issues are. And if you present them with a possible solution to their issue, it's pretty hard to ignore that. Like, you know, if you were, let's say you were a golfing expert, and I was looking to golf, and you know, I don't golf, but let's say it was, and the person asked me, hey, what's your biggest issue? If I said, hey, I can't seem to hit the actual ball, I seem to miss that a lot, and you know, if they say, hey, here's a course right here, or here's some stuff that you might like on how to, or some, you know, either a course or like equipment to help make you more likely to hit basically the ball, you know, you'd be hard pressed not to check it out then, because it's a specific solution to your issue versus just, hey, here's a guide on how to get better at golf. You know, a bit too broad for most people out there. And as an added bonus, especially for Facebook ads, encouraging people to comment can get you cheaper ads and more exposure, and better feedback as well at the same time, which can, you know, greatly lower your ad costs and such right there. So it's kind of like a win-win on all grounds there. As far as blogs, articles, and videos, you can also ask similar questions at the end of blog posts or at the end of articles or videos that you have on a particular topic. For instance, if you have a post or video on how to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, at the end of it, you could ask, what diets or exercises have you tried that haven't worked for you? You know, how much are you looking to lose? Comment below. And based upon that, you could give feedback, or maybe say, you know, maybe help them out on why some may not have worked for them, or if one's looking to lose, you know, a little or a lot, the solutions you have might be different. But you're getting some kind of interaction, because once they start to interact with you, they're more likely to follow through in the end, because you're basically building up a relationship between you and them. Now, here's an extra tip on top of that. At the end of your articles or videos, on top of encouraging them to post comments or answer questions, you should also encourage them to opt in to your mailing list or subscribe to your video channel for more tips. Reason why here is, you know, don't assume that like people will just, for basically the heck of it, sign up to your list or subscribe to your YouTube channel or anything like that. Make sure at the end, you know, of your videos or your art, or you know, or your blog posts or your articles, to specifically mention that too. Say, you know, hey, you know, if you like these tips and you want to learn more, make sure to, you know, subscribe here, or make sure to opt in here. Just that simple tip right there, you know, can help slowly build that list, or basically build the channel up, without you having to think too hard there. And a lot of people don't take that extra step, and they lose out on a lot of leads that way. Now, for forums and Q&A sites, you can actually use this method in 2 different ways here, by asking questions and by answering other people's questions too. So it's like a double whammy here. So you can find several popular forums in your niche, again, just by basically typing in any keyword followed by like forum or message board in Google, and you'll find tons. And then you can ask basically questions where you then follow up with individual responses. And the good part here is that basically others will almost certainly find useful too. So you're not just responding to like one person, even though like, you know, you might be answering a question of one person, or basically writing a question yourself, but over time you might get hundreds, even thousands of people seeing the exact same post of yours, and that can add up to a lot of exposure for something that doesn't have to take you that much time at all. We're talking a matter of minutes. Here's an example. If you're an affiliate for, let's say, diamonds, you could ask, what is the most important to you as a consumer or diamond buyer? Size or quality or clarity? And you know, people are oftentimes, if you ask a question, they're oftentimes more inclined to respond, versus if you just had like a random post that basically talked about, you know, size versus quality and clarity and such. So you're asking for feedback and such, and oftentimes, especially if it's a popular forum or a big size one, can get a lot of responses back, because everyone has an opinion. then when they give an answer, you can follow it up with more specific advice for how to get the best deals on their specific preference, or how to tell that they have a good deal, followed by an offer to help. So in the diamond example, what I would do right here is, if someone said that the most important thing to them was the size, you would then say, oh, that's, thanks for the feedback there. That's really interesting. What I find is that if you care a lot about the size and don't have to have an absolutely perfect diamond, but still want one that doesn't look like crap, here's my advice on what to look for in that case, and here's my advice on where you can get that. Or I have a blog post here that helps kind of walk through that. Another example that you can do as well as you can even offer to basically help them. With that, what I did, in the diamond niche, I'd say, hey, if you're looking for a diamond and want some help, feel free to email me here, or feel free to contact me here, or fill out this form here. Tell me what you're looking for, and I'd be happy to search some of the top sites for you. So I'm not selling them a diamond myself, which would seem, if I did that, it would sound almost like, I'm not being helpful. Whereas if I say, hey, I'll search some of the top sites for you and let you know what I think would be a good deal is based upon what you say. What worked well with that is that I would just be an affiliate for those top sites, and I knew like the top 2 or 3 sites, especially the top site, always seem to have the best deals. So all I'd have to basically do is say, hey, if this guy says he's looking for a diamond that's a maximum of five grand, he wants this shape, and he cares more about like a quality diamond, but he wants it to be at least this size, I can pretty much in a matter of like a couple minutes find several suggestions that would be perfect for him and really good deals that I could send to him as my affiliate link and make hundreds of dollars a sale right there for basically maybe a minute or 2 of my time. So again, not that tough. Even if you're slower at it, I mean, even if it took you 5 minutes, not terribly tough right there. Another example here is if you're in the weight loss niche, you could ask a question like, what body part are you most interested in losing weight or shaping up more on? So again, you're just basically you're trying to get like feedback and stuff. Guys love that stuff. They'll answer you, and they might say, hey, I'm trying to lose fat around the belly or face or chin or arm or leg or thigh or wherever it might be. And then based upon that, you would know that, hey, if let's say that they want to lose, let's say a double chin, or they want to lose fat around the belly, you might have some specific equipment that you could recommend to them to help with that. Like say, hey, if you're looking to lose some arm flab, I find that this exercise right here works really well, and there's some special equipment that helps a lot with that arm flab. Here it is right here, and that can be either like an affiliate link, or it can be, you can talk about that on a blog of yours or on a video and send a link to the video or the blog post as well. If you can't have like an affiliate link on the site itself, you could talk about a link where you have like a walkthrough of how that works and all that. And typically, you kind of know if you ask a question like that, there's probably only like a handful of responses that people will give. Like for sure, most likely the stomach will probably be one. Someone might say like the thighs or arm flap or face or chin. So you pretty much know probably 90% of the answers will be like the 3 most common things. And if you focus on that, you can help a lot of guys and seem like a really nice guy, but at the same time be basically promoting specific solutions for them right there. As long as you do it, again, in a non-spammy way. You don't want to just say, buy this, because that doesn't really come off as being helpful or basically anything like that. But the reverse of that also works well here too, as you can search for people already asking questions and then answer them. So using the same examples as before, you might find someone asking a question on the difference between an SI2 and a VS1 diamond, which are basically a type of clarity. So An example of what your response could possibly be here could say, if there's a question of a person saying, hey, is there really a major difference between an SI2 and a VS1, which is, the kind of clarity or the flaws inside a diamond? A response that I might give, which anyone that spends a half hour doing a little research would be basically an expert on this, especially after an hour. I could say, hey, so there's sometimes not a major difference between an SI2 and a VS1, other than the fact that a VS1 might cost $1,000 or more dollars more. What you want to do to get an awesome deal is you want to look for an SI2 diamond that is called eye clean, which means you can't see any of the flaws with the naked eye. And then say not all VS1 diamonds will be eye clean, and not all SI2 diamonds will be eye clean. So in some cases, you might be paying more for a diamond that you can see a flaw on versus one that you are not. So the best deal you could possibly get is looking for an SI2 that is eye clean and save at least $1,000 or two. And one of the best sites to basically get really good deals on that is this one right here, and you give a link there, or you say for a complete walkthrough on what to really look for to get a good deal on an SI2, check out basically the video I made here or the blog post I made here. Now, everyone would say that's a tremendous amount of value. I just told the guy how he could save over $1,000. Okay, so he's not thinking, oh, this guy is trying to make dough off me, he only cares about himself. He's thinking, holy crap, this guy probably just saved me like $1,000 plus, and he's suggesting a site now, and he's suggesting I look for this and that. I'm going to check that out because I'm excited that I may have just saved $1,000. That's the kind of value, the kind of response that you want to basically give there. Or for basically weight loss. You might find basically a person asking what the best way to lose a double chin or belly fat would be. And in that case, a response that you could give for, let's say, the double chin example could be, hey, in the case of losing a double chin, oftentimes any weight that you lose will actually reduce the double chin. So, anything that you do like this, and this can help. But on top of that, if you want to get even better results and faster specifically for that, here's a handful of exercises that can help with that. In fact, I made a video where you can actually see the exact exercises and the exact equipment that can help with that. Feel free to check it out here. Then you give a link where they go to basically a video where you talk more about the exercises and you recommend the products and stuff that can help with that right there. You're basically providing those people with a lot of value, but you're pinpointing exact solutions to exact problems that they have at the same time. And even in this case, it's not like you're making a custom response for every single question that you answer. What you'll find, which is what I find in almost all of these cases, is 3 or 4 responses that you have typically answer 90% or more of the questions that people have. So you only really have to make like just a few different responses or a few different videos or blog posts to really address almost everyone's unique issue, in that niche, or at least most of them in that niche right there. Now, the awesome part here is that your responses will not only be seen by the person asking or answering the question, but also by potentially hundreds to even thousands of people in the future as more happen across your post. So it's not like just the people right there will be the only people that will ever see your post. I mean, granted, there might be a lot of them there right now, which is a huge, huge plus. But over time, there might be additional people asking the exact same question, searching it on Google, seeing that exact same question, clicking on it, seeing what the responses are, and seeing that you responded to them right there. You might have stuff that's even years old that people will happen across years from now and find, where you can get a benefit off of that. So this has a lasting effect where just a little bit amount of work that you do one time can really pay off in the long run. And this works for, any kind of example that you can think of. I don't care, if you're selling diamonds. I don't care if you're selling, SEO or Facebook ad management, or humidifiers, or whatever it might be. This works in all the cases right there. You just have to think of, hey, what are some of the common questions and common solutions out there, and just make sure you have those done ahead of time and find the people out there asking the questions and answer them. And on the flip side, you can even ask them questions, out there on the forums and such too, to see what the responses that they give are. Now, the last one is surveys. So all of the past methods are a great way to get answers and help send customized offers. But by far the easiest way to do so and get even more detailed responses, usually I find, is through surveys. This is because you can ask several questions and get even more detailed responses back from the same person. Now, the key with a survey is to really do one of two things. Either make it a super interesting viral survey, like, for instance, if you were in the survival niche, you could possibly have one on, like, how long would you survive a catastrophe, which has a chance to go viral because it's interesting. People want to know, hey, would I last a couple days? Would I last a week? Would I last a month? Would I be dead within an hour? It has more of a chance to go kind of viral. And when they answer the questions and such, you could know, hey, if you find out they only have a day's supply of water, maybe you can sell them some water containers, or like emergency ones, where they could have maybe a month's supply, or at least a week or so. Or if you know that they lacked some other area, you could have an offer specifically of that. Or the other kind of survey that you could do, other than like a viral one, is one that basically is crystal clear, that it will help them with a specific solution. For instance, one like, find out how your business can make more money. That doesn't really have a chance to go viral because it's not terribly interesting. I mean, it could, but less likely. But it has a specific solution and a specific target. You're targeting businesses that want to make more, so it's a survey geared towards that. Or find the best robot vacuum solution for your house. Now, obviously, that probably won't go viral. Is it possible? Maybe, but probably not. But it's a specific survey targeted towards a specific person looking for a specific solution. So if someone is in that market, they would definitely want to click that and check that out and answer a handful of questions to see, hey, which robot vacuum would be the best for them, where you basically say, hey, again, do you have wood floors? Do you have black carpet? Is your carpet low cut? Is it high and shaky? Whatever it might be. And you give a specific solution to that. But regardless of what kind of survey you do, you want to make sure that the survey gives very specific responses to their specific needs with your solutions. And again, it doesn't matter if this is your products, services, and affiliate offers. You can even mix these in. You can mix and match, or do all affiliate stuff, or have some of your stuff mixed in, whatever you want right there. With that too, I'll just give like a handful of examples here that I'll actually show off some in just like a minute here. But like and an example with the survival one. You could outright say, hey, answer a handful of questions, see how long you'd last. And that if they say that they don't have any water stored in their basement, or in like a special area, again, selling them like water containers would be a natural upsell there. Or you'd say, hey, I see that looks like you'd last less than a day or two without water. That'd be the number one thing that you would need. Here's a product that can store your water safely for years. And if you want to have a week's supply, I recommend buying this. If you want to have a month or 2 months or more, I recommend buying X amount for every month. Or likewise, if they say that they don't have any food other than what they have in the house now, you would say, hey, the average house, basically typically would run out of food after X amount of days, unless you have, an emergency backup stored. And the government recommends that you have at least enough to last, 3 days or a week or whatever it might be. Although, I mean, you could say I would recommend even more than that if you're prone to areas that could be at risk of like floods and all this other stuff and yada yada yada. And then say, here's basically a link where you could go and you could buy like, canned food that lasts like 5 or 10 years, and if you want the government recommended supply, buy this one to last like 3 days or a week. If you want to last a month, buy this one. So you're like basically going down based upon the answers that they give you and giving custom responses for each one. Or if you're like a business, or let's say your market's a business, you could ask them like, hey, what kind of business are you? What kind of advertising budget do you have? Are you ranked well? And if they say they're not ranked well, you can give them tips on how to rank well and suggest tools to help them do that. Or if they say that they market to basically other businesses, but they lack leads, you could market a tool to them that can help get them more business leads. Again, if someone says my biggest issue is a lack of rankings or a lack of business leads, and you present them with an offer that helps solve that, do you think they'd at least check that out? Of course. Do you think they'd be more likely to buy? Of course. Whereas if you show a tool that finds basically business leads to any business, even ones that don't sell to other businesses, you can look like a fool, and they'll say, well, this is cool, but I kind of wasted my time on this because I don't need that now. And even though you might have other stuff that they need, once you lose their interest, they're basically gone, even if you might have other stuff. So what I'll do, I'm just going to pause the screen for a second, and I'm going to show off some of the stuff in a second here. Oh, actually, there's one slide I left out, and then I'll go to the demo. I forgot about that. Now, in terms of, now I'll get to like an actual walkthrough of like some of the surveys and stuff that we have, and I'll show you some, and I'll show you how we actually make them too, in just a minute here. But as far as like how to drive traffic to a survey, there's several ways. One, you can advertise your surveys. You can advertise on Facebook and stuff like that and drive lots of traffic there. You can also mail your list. So even though you already have those leads on your list, you can mail them, kind of pinpoint the problems that they have and the solutions that you can give. And this is especially good for like high-end stuff too. Like if there's let's say a business that maybe does like, let's say $1 million+ a year, the solutions that they're looking for might be completely different than a guy who's brand new and doesn't even have a blog yet. So I mean, you don't want to necessarily make the exact same offer to everyone there. And if there's a guy that you think might be an awesome prospect that you can help a lot based upon his answers, it might be worth your time to follow up with that guy and try to see what you can have go through there. You can also post them on Facebook, whether it be on free places like a Facebook page or like a group, or even on your profile, because again, it doesn't come off as spammy if it's a survey that helps other people. You can also mention them at the end of articles or videos. Like you might have an article on what to look for in a robot vacuum, and then say, hey, to get a recommendation personalized for you, just answer a couple, or just basically answer a few quick questions right here, and we'll tell you our best recommendations for you based upon your answers. You can also mention them on forums and such. Those are all free, as well as some paid ways to drive traffic. Now, they come off far less spam-like and sales-like than a traditional sales page would, and they can be super useful and fun for people too. Because again, people kind of like them. They like seeing the responses there. You've probably been on Facebook and seen like people sharing surveys and stuff like that. There's a handful of like viral silly ones and such. But instead of just being silly, you can get useful info and sell stuff too. And you can also ask multiple questions to really pinpoint their needs. So unlike some of the prior methods where really you're asking like usually one question or so, you can ask multiple questions and get multiple answers to really pinpoint what their exact needs are. Like if you're, let's say, a store that sells alternative medicine or holistic solutions and stuff, you could ask them what they're suffering from. You can ask them what their age is, if they're a male or a female, and get like a whole bunch of useful info. And then at the end of that, offer specific solutions based upon the issues that they have. Even offer multiple products to them at the same time. And you can basically automate basically the answers and the responses that you give. Whereas with some of the other methods, you have to take the time to basically respond yourself. Whereas with a survey, if you know what you're doing and set stuff up well, you can have a custom response show up right there. So that's pretty cool. So the only downside compared to the other methods is that even though surveys are often better, they are often not that easy to make and even harder to give really good custom responses to. You can create a basic one with generic responses where you assume what their answers are, but that's far less targeted. Like you can have a survey where you basically assume what they'll basically answer, and that can work. It's not that hard to make those. I mean, you can even make like a video that says, hey, answer these questions, and then at the end you give basically the answers. That can be a super easy way, but it's not as targeted, as what you could do. But that is one way to basically do it. Solutions like SurveyMonkey can work to some extent, but they're more geared towards usually academics and standard surveys, and not as much towards marketers. And for instance here, like you can't have like custom responses in the same way. Plus in this case, it can cost nearly $1,200 a year for the plans that do some of the stuff here. There's some like dumbed down survey tools that are really basic that sure you can find, but they don't do again like the custom responses and stuff like that. So you can do a basic one. But we actually created a couple of survey tools ourselves that we've been using for quite a while that we were actually going to roll out eventually. Since we basically thought, hey, there's no point in not if basically others can benefit, because we actually found that there wasn't really a solution out there for marketers that could do what we wanted to basically do, even in like the really expensive ones and the really advanced ones. There wasn't really an easy way, and oftentimes there wasn't really any way to do like the custom responses in a way that would benefit basically a marketer. So we actually made that ourselves, and we thought, hey, since we have this made, we might as well at one point get basically others involved. So since we had this topic here, we thought we couldn't really do this topic without mentioning surveys and such, and we thought this would be a great opportunity to show off something new that we have and let you guys in on a special deal with that. So I'm just going to pause the screen for a second as I show like examples and a quick demo of some of the surveys and what you can do. So one of the things that, actually before I show it, I'll have to re-log into the screens really quick because I know it kicks me out if I'm not, so just want to make sure I'm logged in here, and then I'll get talking. All right, so it looks like I should be good there. All right, so one of the things that we initially did, we're like, hey, it'd be really cool to not only like survey our own lists and stuff, but also have surveys out there that are meant to get leads and also help market specific products. So we actually made our own survey maker from scratch after we made like a handful of surveys from scratch ourselves, which were like, hey, this wastes a ton of time and money to make. One of the surveys that we made was just basically a simple one right here, which is like, hey, do you have an existing business? Yes or no. And they basically answer questions, and based upon the answers that they give, we can give a custom response for them right there. So I'll just I'll go through this really quick. So basically asks, hey, do you sell to consumers or businesses? Yada yada yada. I'll just pretend like I sell, I don't know, maybe plumbing stuff, or no, I'll say AC stuff. All right, let's say they get 1,000 hits a month. Let's fill this out right here. Let's say they get maybe 3% of people to buy. Let's say average service call maybe $500, maybe the highest one, let's say, is 5,000. Just ask them like basically questions if they have, if they do upsells or how many upsells they do. How much is your average upsell worth? Let's say, yeah, we're just going through it really quick right there. Okay. Asking if they have a blog. And again, they're just basically answering a handful of questions that says, hey, do you run special offers? And all the questions here, now you don't have to have a survey quite as long, but all the questions are obviously meant to get a lot of info for me, basically to sell them more stuff and to help them at the same time. I'll say maybe the biggest issue this AC place has is a lack of traffic and leads and such. And in this case, we have a customer response for them right here, where like if they said that they're selling to consumers, which they said right here, we basically know that, so we can give some customer responses and an offer that they can check out. If they said they aren't happy with their rankings, we give them some tips on how they can rank better, and then give a solution if they want to check out to have that done more easily for them. And then it talks, a bit more about if they said that they didn't have a lot of upsells, we basically talk about how they can get more of those. And again, just like a handful of tips. Not every tip has to have a product that they have to buy, but of course we sprinkle in products and recommendations, whether it's ours or stuff that we can be an affiliate for, that could help them with that right there. So pretty cool right there. And again, if someone said that they don't rank well, if you had a solution that would help them, they're more likely to check that out. Likewise, in this case, I didn't say I was a business-to-business seller, but if I was, and I said that I had a lack of leads, it would recommend, a tool that could find free business leads. And if they said that that was their biggest issue, of course, they'd be likely to check that out there. Now, so what we found is that, these are great to get custom answers and responses, but they were initially kind of hard to make. And we actually made the first survey maker that we ever made was actually a ways back. And I'll show off that in a second here. Basically, it would look like this right here, where we have a tool where you can make any kind of survey you like. And I'm showing off actually two survey tools, which you'll have a chance to actually get if you want as well. And what we basically do is you can pick any kind of name you want for a survey. And all you have to do, let's do this one that I recently did here. And it can save responses, so you can see the amount of people that answered each question right here. You can view what the question is and see what all the responses are, and you can also have a chance to grab their email at the end. In this case, because I didn't need the email because they were on my list, I didn't ask. But if you wanted that option, you can include that option and grow a list off that. You can see the total responses for each one. It tracks basically all that stuff, right there for you right here. And you can also track it down individually. So let's say there's a guy that says he has basically a business that does over $1 million, and he wants to advertise on Facebook, and we do Facebook management. We might say, hey, that's the guy that I really want to see in detail what his responses are. I could look him up individually right here and see what he basically answered. And I could follow up with that guy individually if I want, or for the others, after they answer basically the survey, they would go and get a custom response and all that. And to make a survey, I'll just show how you can basically edit one real quick, because it's super easy to make one, but I'll show what one actually looks like. Basically, you can add any new question you want, as well as any response that you want as well. And this is like this is one that we initially made basically internally, and it can do a lot of stuff. There's a lot of advanced settings and stuff if you want. Like right here, you know, you see I have a question, and any of the questions I can just click. Here's basically the question. Here's essentially the answers. Like in this case, I just said yes and no. I can have multiple choice. You know, if I want, that's all up to you. You can even have an essay response. So if you want them to type in an essay, you just write essay there. And again, you can add as many responses as you want. And then after that, based upon the answers that they give, like let's say you can say, hey, if they basically answered A the most, say this. If they answered B the most, say that. Or you could say, you know, you can basically do it by point value, where you assign a point to every question. So you can do some very elaborate answers and stuff. And you can do all that right there. You can even, at the very end, if you want, we have a special edition, which is free and, you know, included in this right here, where you can have, you can use a viral tool, which gets the survey takers to share your survey with others for a chance to win like a prize or get like a bonus or whatever you want. And here's like, here's a simple survey I made here that this wasn't meant to be a pretty one. This is just like a very, very basic one. So it basically asks, hey, do you have a website? Yes, yes, and no. You know, do you pay for hosting? Do you have a list? Yeah, and again, you can just click anything that you want right there. And you can type in a custom answer there, which they can actually see. It saves all that. I'll leave it blank right now. And then you can have, this is like an unpretty version of it right here, where you can have a custom response where they can check out basically tools of yours. And in this case, we have the viral bit, where if they share this link on their, you know, on a blog, a forum, or on Facebook or anywhere else, it will instantly verify that and give them a bonus. So that's like a cool way to get extra, essentially traffic and such there too. But on top of that, so that was the initial survey that we, or the survey tool that we initially made, and it can do some very advanced things. But what we found, the pros and cons are there, is it can do some really fancy stuff, and we have like lots and lots of training to basically make that easy. But we actually made a newer version that also kind of dumbs that all down and makes it like super brain dead easy. So if you want like slightly less options and want like a much easier version, we have a tool here that is brain dead easy. And this is one that this one here we initially made for just ourselves. We can do like a lot of things. This one we actually thought, hey, why not make this one for basically, you know, the general consumer? And I'll give you guys a chance to actually get both as combo right here. So this one, we can make an easy survey, super easy. You just click new, and then you click essentially the edit button right here. And this one you can give for every answer that you have, you can give a custom response for each one. So you don't have to worry about if they answered A the most or B. You don't have to worry about a complicated like you know, point value or anything like that. But if you say, hey, you know, do you want to lose weight? And you know, in this case, I made it super easy. This isn't meant to be like a real one, unlike the last one. If they say yes, you could then say, hey, then eat less and exercise more. Meant to be a joke. And then, of course, you could have a link to your product and such. And if they say no, you'd say that. You know, you could say, hey, do you want to have more energy? They say yes. You could then say, then drink Red Bull. Click here to get one. Obviously, again, done as a joke. And if you want, you also don't have to have a response. So if you want it to not have a response, you just leave that blank. Then here's what that would basically look like. And this automatically makes it look basically nicer, but you can add graphics and links and basically anything you want. In this case, it's just a super easy one. So we can start the 2-question survey right here. And in this case, we'll say, do you want to lose weight? Sure. And it says, do you want to have more energy? Sure. And again, then eat less and exercise more, followed by a link or anything you want. Then drink a Red Bull, followed by a link right here. And of course, you can add any graphics or anything you want right there. Again, as we saw right here in the custom responses, if you want to add a link, you just click there. If you want to add any kind of like a graphic, you just click there and get add in the graphics, and have a very easy, nice looking survey maker. So what we thought that we'd basically do, since the solutions out there don't let you do a lot of options and they're not intuitively easy and they're fairly expensive, we actually planned on basically selling this for like a higher price at some point with like a whole course on what to basically do. But what we thought we'd do for guys here is we want to give you guys a special like early access deal, and we'll actually give you both of the tools. So if you want the initial one that we internally use a lot that can do some very elaborate things but is a bit more complex, you can get that, that's fine. If you want basically the dumbed down one, which can make it look very, very pretty right off the bat, you don't have to deal with anything hard other than just write whatever response you want for whatever answer. You can get that as well on top of like training stuff that we have there. So this is basically a newer one that we've never released, this one right here, but the prior one we have like lots of training and stuff in that. Again, you'll get access to both of those as well as some updates and stuff that we do on this. And again, very, very easy to use right here. So I'm just going to pause the screen for a second as I jump on back. Okay. So with that, again, guys, we thought, okay, there's really not any good viable solutions out there. That's why we basically made it ourselves initially, and that's why we also have two of them. One is like incredibly easy to use, where you don't have to. I mean, if you can write an email, you'll be perfectly fine, and it can look really fancy and great, kind of like the BizFire survey that you saw. And the other one is if you want to do some more elaborate stuff and have them write basically essays and all that, it can do all that stuff on that one as well. And we kind of give a breakdown of what each one does right there. But we thought, hey, why not for you guys, to get you guys to basically use them, we'll include both in basically a combo right here. So as a special offer, because again, we thought there's not really any good solutions out there. And keep in mind, we host all these for you as well. For a pre-release deal, we actually thought for just you guys here, when we sell this, the special deal will be at least $200 more, and it probably won't include both versions. It will just be one of those. You can actually grab it right here. Just go to getwebfire.com/survey. Again, that's getwebfire.com/survey. And it can go to that deal right there, where again we'll get to a combo of both of the tools. We'll explain exactly what each one can do and what essentially the benefits are to each one right there are. And also, again, that's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee as well for any reason. And again, we're not looking to make a lot of dough off this, because again, we do host every survey that you have, so all the traffic and all the images and all that. We basically host all that stuff on our servers, right there. So whether you have like one survey or a dozen, we host all or more. We host all those right there, so you don't have to have a separate domain or anything like that. So it's only $297 per year right there, which is again about $200 off what we would price only basically the one version at, and this will include actually both the tools that you can get right there. So again, just go to getwebfire.com/survey if that's of interest to you. And with that, guys, so we just want to make that offer for you, because we thought, hey, there's not really inexpensive solution out there, so we thought we'd basically make one to help with that. And since we use it ourselves, we thought we'd offer a special deal to you guys before we sell it to basically everyone else for close to basically twice that. But if you have any questions on that, or any questions on basically the method of how to like ask questions and make money off of it, whether it's with the surveys or the Q&A stuff or anything like that, feel free to ask those now, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. And then after that, we'll do the cash giveaway. And again, for that, all you have to do is go to getwebfire.com/FB group. And if you're not a member of that, Sharon, it's free. Just click join. Sharon will approve you usually within a minute. She has a post at the very top of that Facebook group, basically asking what you thought of today's training. If you just leave any comment at all, it doesn't matter what. Like if it's if you want to say what you liked, if you want to say any recommendations or stuff that you want to, that's all fine. List any comment you want there, and we'll pick a random winner in a few minutes here. So just make sure to try to leave the comment within the post that Sharon has from probably like a half hour, like an hour ago, asking what you thought of today's call. Makes it a lot easier to count if you leave it within that post right there. And we'll do the drawing live on that. So with that, Sean, if there's any questions or anything, we can get to answering. And just make sure to go to that Facebook group page there again at getwebfire.com/FB group. And if you're interested, it looks like there's a couple of people asking for that link again. The link, I'll just leave it up here. That's just right here, getwebfire.com/survey for the special link that we're basically passing on only to you guys on this training call right here. So this won't be basically an offer on you know, a normal call that we would do with this. This would be like a special early access only for our members type thing right here. So that's the link for that, getwebfire.com/survey. And the link to partake in the $100 contest is just getwebfire.com/FB group there. So with that, guys, let's see, I'll pause the screen and see what questions there are. And Sean, feel free to chime in if there's any questions or anything that you see as well.
Hey, Brian, we need to clarify a little bit, because you kind of jumped from BizFire to the two different survey tools, and you lost some people.
Sure.
In the process of if they're getting BizFire, if they're getting something else, and if you could just clarify the relationship. Sure.
So BizFire itself is just a survey that we made. So that's and it's you can make very similar ones essentially using you know, the survey makers. So like this one, like for instance, the one right here is based on the model of this right here. That's why you see essentially the templates look almost identical there. So you can kind of make your own BizFire type survey. So this is just a survey that we have, so it's not like you get you know, this per se, but you can make your own surveys and stuff with that. And the two tools we have, just to basically clarify really quick. So the newer one right here is if you want to give a custom response for every answer, this is what you'd use right here. And you can make a really nice looking thing like here. If you want to add graphics and stuff, super easy to do all that as well. And you can make one that looks basically almost identical to what we did right here in the BizFire one. So if you want to add your own graphics in like that, that's all fine and dandy there too. If you want one where you're basically asking people to basically answer like surveys and you want to do like a lot of analytics and stuff, you can use our other tool right here, which can do all that advanced stuff right there. But I'd imagine most of you would probably just want to use this one right here, but we thought we'd include both because we know there's a handful of guys that have like different kinds of surveys and stuff where they might ask for like basically essay responses and stuff like that. So if you're doing like an essay response, you'd use the other one more so. And if you're doing just a simple, if they say this, give this response. If they say that, give also this other response. You'd use this right here. So you get both of those. You don't have to use both, but we thought we'd throw in both as a deal right here.
Okay, great. Separately, jumping back to examples. Whoops. Okay, people sort of typing in questions and the whole screen jumped. Okay, so Peter sells dog supplies and dog clothing because nothing says success like a well-dressed dog. He didn't say that, I did. So what would be good lead questions that he would ask or on a forum, and what kind of survey questions would fit for dogs? And I'm going to let you answer that, Brian, but think about it for a second. But for most of these surveys, okay, if you notice when Brian gave the diamond example, right? If you walked into a diamond store and you were talking to a helpful sales consultant, what would they ask you? Hi, you know, welcome. What are you looking for? And you'd say, I'm looking for a diamond. And the guy would say, do you have any kind of a budget in mind? And you'd tell him a number, and he'd say, okay, so are you interested in something bigger, or something, you know, you want more size? Do you want more clarity? Do you want more of a certain color? You know, you're looking for a marquee cut, you're looking for an emerald cut, are you looking for a solitaire, are you looking for something baguettes, right? You'd go through the list of questions, and then you'd be able to identify, oh, this guy wants this kind of thing, right? This is the same kind of questions. These are not trick questions. These are not complicated questions. They're simply questions that elicit information that allows you to help someone who says, I have a problem, or I'm looking for the specific solution because I already know what the solution is I'm looking for, like I'm looking for a diamond so that I can get engaged or make my loved one happy or whatever. And you're going to help with that solution. Now, Brian, I'll let you chime in.
Yeah, so yeah, that's exactly right. So with
See, it's exactly right. Okay, I got one right.
So with
one for me, 100 for Brian. I'm catching up.
So with the dog example, was it mostly like costumes and stuff and outfits, or was it like everything dogs?
No, he sells dog supplies too.
Okay.
He listed dog supplies first, but he also sells clothes. Because I know you buy clothes for your dogs, right?
I think we have a sweater for the really small one in the winter when it's shaved. Because it like freezes outside and like refuses to actually walk outside otherwise, which is a problem when they have to kind of, you know, go to the bathroom out there. But with that though, like one thing you could do in that case is, you know, let's say you sell like a bunch of dog toys, and you want to have basically a survey geared towards that. You could say, hey, find, you know, this survey could be, hey, find the best and most popular toys for your specific dog. So it might say, hey, what kind of dog do you have? Do you have you know, a small dog, a mid-sized dog, a large dog? And they'd ask basically questions like that, and then you can ask, is it an outside dog? Is it an indoor dog? If it's an indoor dog, how often is it left home alone? Is it completely potty trained? Like a whole bunch of stuff like that. Whereas if you find that, hey, you know, let's say they claim that the dog's a runner, and if you have the door open, like my dog, I should say my larger dog, if a person has the door open, the dog just bolts and runs. You know, in that case, it might say, you know, hey, you might really benefit from this new technology. It's like a, you know, invisible fence, but it's like a little thing that you put in one place, and it has like basically a radius of like 100 feet or so, kind of like a shock collar, and that can help, you know, with that issue. Or if it says, hey, let's say that it's not properly potty trained, there might be some products or a guide that can help with that. Or let's say that you know, it's a smaller dog that tends to have anxiety issues, and you find that out from basically some questions that you have. You might have some toys and such that could help with that right there. You could also ask them, do you ever dress your dogs up for Halloween or Christmas? and if they say yes or they want to, you can show basically the outfits and stuff for that. Whereas if a person says that they never do and are never interested, you might kind of lose that guy if you have like a bunch of stuff where you show off like costumes and outfits and stuff, versus if they're really just looking for supplies to help them with other issues. So you can pinpoint it down, like that really as much as you want right there based upon the interests that they have. And if they know that stuff that you're specifically showing is geared towards their kind of dog, you're far more likely to make that sale. Or if you ask, hey, does your dog shed? If they say yes and they say a lot, you could then say, hey, you might want a Furminator. Here's how these work. They're really, really useful, blah, blah. It's like a little comb that gets all the hair out very, very easily. I can actually feel like essentially like a pillowcase, and I'm not joking, with my Husky's hair on that. And that's a really useful thing, where if you start to talk about that and if their dog does not shed, you kind of lose them a bit, because they're like, oh, this is just a general store. It wastes a lot of their time if they have to go through everything. They don't feel it's like it's personalized for them. So that's just a few ways that would work for basically a dog site. And any other questions or anything? All right, so
one really long one, but I'm still reading.
All right. I love the really long ones where it's like an easy answer. I'm not sure if that's it or not. All right, I'm just going through the other questions here.
Okay, so this is Steve's question. The short version of the question is, he wants to do a survey in two parts. He wants to ask a lot of questions, and then have it pause and show a special message like we're analyzing your results, and just have it pause there for several seconds, and then after it pauses, to pop up a next screen and start going through and capturing their contact information.
So what you can do is on one of the tools, we actually do allow you to capture an email lead. So you have the option, so you don't have to, but you have the option at the very end of the survey on the more advanced one, which is why we have a more advanced one with like lots of options. You can say, hey, if you want them to basically opt in before they see their results, you can grab their email. Whereas if you just want to show them the results and you don't worry about that, that's fine too. And when it loads the final screen, I mean, there is like a normal slight pause, but it's not like it will pause for like 5 seconds or anything like that. That's more of a thing that, like, if you want something really elaborate where like you have, hey, I want exactly a 5-second pause, that's more of like a custom coding type thing. And when you basically start to do that for every survey, it can be upwards of like, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not 1,000 plus, for every survey that you basically make, which is why we made basically a tool to make it like super easy to do this stuff without having to spend a fortune or even be a tech guy.
Okay, good. And that answers everybody's questions.
Okay, good. All right, so with that, guys, right there, if you're interested in that, make sure to check out that link you see there. And if you want to win $100 right now, make sure you go to getwebfire.com/FB group and just leave a comment asking what you thought on today's training. And again, guys, on that deal right there, we'll leave it up for a short time right now, but this really is just a deal just for like people on the call, our subscribers and such, because we will eventually be having like a separate, like once we have like a handful of updates and stuff out, which there are a handful of updates that we're actually working on that will be out within like a couple days. We plan on creating more of like a course around that and kind of selling that by itself. You guys, we'll get all those updates and stuff for free, but we just wanted to give you guys early access and stuff right there if that was of interest to you. And all right, so let's do some cash. All right. I'm just going to refresh the page really quick and show my screen. All right. So I'll give you guys maybe 10 seconds to leave a comment. You just go right to here where Sharon is basically asking what you thought, and then leave a comment within there. Okay. All right, with that, we'll count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, half, 0. All right. I'll refresh the page really quick and I'll get to counting. All right. There we go. I'll count the ones outside of it really quick. There's always some that post accidentally in the wrong one. All right. Oh, just one posted outside. That's nice. Makes it super easy then. Just make sure I didn't miss anything. Cool. All right, so 1 plus. Looks like there's a person typing at the very end. I'll give you like 3 seconds to wrap up. Oh, it looks like I scared them. All right, so 1 plus 32, so we have 33. Sean, what do you think the winner is? 1 to 33.
5.
5. That would be like really easy. 25.
I was close. I had half the number.
Yeah. All right. So 25. We'll count backwards. This 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, and 26, 25. All right, Stephen Timmons, if this is your name and it looks like you, you are $100 richer today, or you will be as soon as you give us your PayPal email. So again, congratulations to Stephen Timmons for being this week's $100 winner. So if you could just, in the chat box, basically type in your PayPal email, and Sharon will get that over to you in a few moments here. So with that, guys, again, I want to thank you for being on this call with us. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to let us know. And then again, if you want to check out that offer right there, just make sure to go to getwebfire.com/survey. It'll be left up for just a little bit longer right here, because we'll later be turning it into a product by itself. And because it's legitimately like a pre-sale offer, we actually will be manually emailing out access to you, but we'll get that out to you today on that right there, because this is not available to the public yet. But yeah, so if that's of interest to you, make sure to check out that. And with that, Sean, is there anything else you want to add before we end this call?
No, great info, great everything. Stephen got your info. Congratulations. And other than that, let's make it a great week.
All right, thanks, guys, and we'll talk to you later. And again, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to be here next week when we have yet another call for you. So with that, guys, take care and talk to you later.